AEW's Dax Harwood has recalled an incident where Shawn Michaels ridiculed him in WWE. Meanwhile, a match from this week's Raw has been highly praised behind the scenes, and another main roster superstar has made a surprise appearance on NXT. More on that later on. Yeah, so first of all, Sam, it's been talked about quite a lot already over the weekend, but this is a story that's definitely worth mentioning because it's very interesting for multiple reasons. Dax Harwood of AEW and of FTR, formerly the Revival in WWE, was on Oral Sessions with Renee and was talking about a dark period in his career.
Yeah.
Where he felt frustrated creatively. This came off the back of Raw 25, when, if you remember, the Revival were beaten down by the Clique. And it was one of many segments on the show that people felt prioritized these old legends who aren't even really there anymore over the new, current, talented people on the roster.
And the thing was as well at the time, I remember, it wasn't so much that being the issue, it was just the prevalence of it. Because, you know, it's a throwback show. You were going to expect some moments where, you know, legends stand tall, right? But there was, there was just a bit too much of it.
And it kind of made them look weak as well. And FTR or the Revival were, I mean, everyone was saying one of the most promising tag teams, maybe one of the best tag teams in WWE, and then that happened to them.
Yeah.
But anyway, Dax Harwood was saying too, Renee, for a lot of guys, it's like, oh, it's a paycheck, who cares? But not me. Talking about how upset he was about the segment, saying, there's a legacy I want to leave, but that happened, and I talked to Shawn Michaels. That was the first time we had talked since the Performance Center days. Shawn Michaels, of course, being involved in the segment where they beat the Revival down.
Yeah.
He said, we had this bonding moment, and then we got in front of his friends. And he said that X-Pac, Hunter, Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, and Scott Hall were all there. And as soon as we got in front of Shawn's friends, he started making fun of me and making fun of my situation and what happened with my bicep. He was talking to him just before this about feeling in a dark place because of this injury and because of, and how his wife managed to help him get him through it. And Shawn Michaels related to him and said, you know, I when I met my wife, she helped me through some dark times as well. And then they get in front of the Clique, and immediately Shawn Michaels turns 180 and just starts ridiculing him for it. He says, this is all according to Dax Harwood, of course. He says, I was like, man, I just poured my heart out to you, and as soon as we get in front of your friends, because we're going over that, they're going to beat the S out of me in the ring. You decided to take all that stuff and make fun of me about it. He did point out, though, that the one member of the Clique who thanked him after the segment was X-Pac. Shawn Morton, get in. No, everyone likes Shawn Morton.
Yeah, like X-Pac just seemed, even when we were in Vegas, X-Pac seemed to just be floating about everywhere, and everybody seemed to just be like happy to see him. He seemed to be happy to be around people.
Yeah, he seems like a great guy. But unfortunately, I mean, obviously there's two sides to every story, but from what Dax Harwood's saying, this reminds me, and a lot of people online from what I've seen the response to it, of the 90s Shawn Michaels, you know?
No, really?
We've all heard lots of stories about how Michaels is now a much more pleasant person to be around since his comeback in sort of the early to mid 2000s, and how he's really turned his life around. He's found religion and everything. But you know, I guess to me it sounds like a sort of school reunion where everybody just slips back into their old ways.
Yeah, that might be kind of it. You know, like it's still of course not. It's still not nice, and it's still not the right thing to do. But you know, maybe it was one of those. You know, I guess this will pop them, and you know, even though it shouldn't be done, like there's no real way to explain it away, is there? It's just not very nice.
No, not at all. But then to add sort of an angle to the story, former WWE writer Dave Schilling on Twitter said, I feel bad that FTR had a bad experience with Shawn Michaels, but they also made my life hell the Raw after Mania 35 and made fun of the promo I wrote while I was in the room. Tough business, and people are rarely their best selves under the pressure cooker. Now that last bit's a very fair point, I think, from Dave Schilling. When the pressure's on, you know, it can all go out the window. But at the same time, this got a mixed response on Twitter. Everyone was in support of Dax when he said his thing. I don't know whether it's just because he's a respected wrestler and Dave Schilling's a writer who he himself said are like second-class citizens in wrestling. But his tweet got a far more mixed response. People were saying this isn't the same thing. You can't equate the two.
Yeah, I saw some people going after, it's like, oh, well, WWE shouldn't have writers anyway. Wrestlers don't need writers. And it's like, if you have that side of the argument, when I was seeing that, I was like,
well, that's not his fault.
It's not, he's a paid writer. What's he going to do? Get the job offer and go, no, wrestling doesn't need writers. Okay, we'll hire the next person.
I totally agree. It's not his fault. And I understand, especially like, I totally get it, because if you see everybody coming out in sympathy for this guy who your main memory of is being that way to you, in your mind anyway, then you're going to want to say something about it
of course.
as well. But it does also sound like two slightly different situations. Dax's situation was that he'd opened up on a personal level with Shawn Michaels.
Whereas this was
more of like a work
environment.
And not like a pleasant one, certainly.
No.
But I think it lacks the personal element. Not that it makes it any less valid, I suppose.
Yeah.
A tricky situation there all around. Moving on now to a report from PW Insider, which is positive news, saying that there was a lot of praise this week backstage for the match between Bianca Belair and Doudrop on Raw, even saying that the bout received rave reviews from those behind the scenes.
Two very good workers. What more could you expect? The only thing still baffling me here is the Doudrop name. Piper Niven is a good name.
I know.
Why Doudrop?
I don't even care if she's called Viper. I know there's Randy Orton, but I don't care.
Yeah,
there could be two Vipers.
Well, either way, at least the company is riding high on both Bianca Belair and Doudrop, and it means hopefully we're going to see more of them, and hopefully for Doudrop this means, and for people like us who are like, I don't like Doudrop, as in the name, hopefully it means we're going to see some major character development.
I hope so, because Doudrop's on a bit of a weird trajectory at the minute where she's kind of floating around in the title scene, but she lost to Becky Lynch. Then she was in the chamber with that awful font on the front of her attire. But she's always putting in good showings. At the same time, these two, I mean, to me, it's a great thing that they're getting praised for this really good match backstage, but it's also frustrating because it kind of shows the lack of direction of the women's division at the minute, apart from the main title feuds, because these two have been feuding a couple of months ago and then sort of stopped. And it was just to get Bianca to that next level, I think. And now they've had another match again. And now it's getting praised.
It's getting praised.
I don't want to say that Vince forgets things, but it feels like sometimes there's
maybe there's a lot going on, and it's kind of, hey, why don't we try that? And nobody's got the cojones to be like, hey, we already tried that. Can we not try developing it a bit further?
I think so. But I'm glad for them, though. I'm glad they got rave reviews and everything. So that seems pretty good. Crossing the line now. Cross the line to Impact Wrestling, because it's been announced by the company that one of their, I'll say an Impact legend, I'll say it. One of their legends is coming back for Sacrifice on March 5th, airing on Impact Plus and YouTube for Ultimate Insiders. It's Alex Shelley, one half of the Motor City.
Your boys!
Around there. I don't know where Detroit is. Do you know what that is?
It's the
Michigan's hand.
Yeah, it's a hand,
You might have taught me that.
My uni lecturer was from Michigan. She was like, they teach you in school, it's like a mitten. And you learn where you are on the palm.
There's somewhere in Detroit. The Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. So Shelley's coming back for Sacrifice on March 5th. And will take on, and Impact are billing this as a dream match, Jay White, who's been a controversial boy recently, Sam.
Yeah.
He turned on the God.
Yeah.
How can you turn on Tama?
You can't turn on Tama. You saw what happened last time because Haku comes out. And we just start up again with the side project, and he's gonna get it all back in line.
I don't know what's going on.
It's like they're the constant of the Bullet Club. You can't.
I don't know what's going on.
Pillar out the way.
Yeah, exactly. But now Jay White's not aligned with them. So what's happened to the Bullet Club?
I don't know.
What's going on? I guess we're gonna have to find out.
We're gonna have to tune in.
I suspect, even though this is a big singles match between Alex Shelley and Jay White, that more of the Bullet Club story could unfold in the aftermath or during this match as well. Man, I'm in turmoil.
Tantalising. The prospect of this match.
Someone just make Tama Tonga a world champion somewhere. But yes, it should be a very, very good match. Alex Shelley's a great babyface. Jay White's a great heel. It's gonna be very, very good indeed. At least it's got a good chance of being very, very good indeed. Now crossing back over the line. To NXT, where there was some ructions last night, Sam.
Yes.
So we had the Tommaso Ciampa and Dolph Ziggler match to determine the number one contender.
Which, fair play to Ziggler. I want to see more Ziggler in NXT.
Oh yeah, I think it's really refreshed his character. But and he can always go in the ring. But between Tommaso Ciampa and Dolph Ziggler for the number one contendership to Bron Breakker's NXT title. And who should help Dolph Ziggler win that match but that dirty dog,
guys.
Robert Roode. But also, while reading about this story, I remembered, hang on, Bobby Roode, former NXT champion, making his return, and helping Dolph Ziggler become number one contender. So, first of all, made me miss when Bobby was like, had the glorious theme tune.
Yeah, when the world was at his feet and everybody was certain he's going to the main roster, he's going to be champion.
Yeah. And also, Dolph versus Bron Breakker. I think that's an excellent matchup.
Yeah.
Because I want to see him throw Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, yeah, and you see
around.
Ziggler can sell. Like, I mean, look at when he faced Goldberg 3 times. Like, just Ziggler against a power.
It was so funny.
Like, it works so well.
Yes. I think as well that, I mean, I'm guessing the Bron Breakker's going to retain. But is there a slim chance, and I might just be playing devil's advocate here, but is there a slim chance that Ziggler could beat Braun and he just instantly goes up to the main roster, and then Dolph has this unique storyline where he's the champion on NXT?
I wouldn't hate that.
No,
I think that, you know, someone like Dolph Ziggler, who languishes often, you know, in the same old matchups, the same 3 matchups, over and over again on TV sometimes. If if they don't really have anything to do on the main roster and writers are just kind of throwing the same stuff, send them to NXT, because like, not all at once, but I like the idea that Ziggler's going down. Ziggler's going to come out of this hopefully rejuvenated, hopefully with a new feather in his cap. Hopefully, you know, as you said, we could see something as dramatic as him taking the title, as Bron Breakker then going to the main roster, and then Ziggler becoming this mountain to climb and defeat for somebody new.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it could. I don't think.
And Ziggler to an NXT star. That's a big deal. Former world champion, like, you know.
I don't think it's likely, but I think we're onto something. I think it would be interesting to see if that would happen. Another interesting thing on NXT last night was the long-awaited debut of Nikita Lyons. Now, Sam, you said you've watched the highlights of this match.
Yes.
I haven't actually seen it yet, but she beat Kayla Inlay in her debut NXT appearance.
She's just got a very unique moveset. She kind of moves very quickly, very sharp movement, strikes, and like rolling through a lot of stuff. Like, it just really got me excited about future prospects for Nikita Lyons in NXT.
That is exciting, and I'm relieved for her.
Taekwondo practitioner as well. So
she's a woman of many talents, because her vignettes, her weekly vignettes, were starting to get ridiculed a bit on Twitter, as many aspects of NXT 2.0 are. Yeah. Because she was like good at everything. The first line of,
it was like Casey Catanzaro, where it was like, you're just too perfect.
But so Nikita Lyons turns up in her first vignette and says, I don't know if I can say. Yeah, I can say it. She goes like, of course I can say it. They said it on NXT. She went, I'm the daughter. I've already choked it. I'm the daughter of a famous musician, a talented musician, and a beautiful groupie. And I was like, whoa, what's going on there? And she's good at music. She can rap. She can songwrite. She can play instruments. Yep. She's got nunchuck skills.
She can kick ass.
She can dance. She can taekwondo, she can kickbox, she can do all of these things in all of these vignettes. So I'm really relieved that she looked impressive here, because this was setting her up like. I mean,
it was very much a big entry match. We'll see as it develops. We'll see how Nikita Lyons settles into NXT.
I can't believe I nearly went, I'm the son of a plumber.
I'm the son of a plumber.
No, she's the daughter of a musician. But yeah, I'm glad that it's gone well. She certainly is unique. And hopefully, good things carry on for Nikita Lyons in the future, and all our favourites on NXT 2.0, which, for better or worse, has given us some characters to talk about. Check out our earlier news video, by the way, today, if you haven't seen it already. We cover various different topics there, including Cody Rhodes and whether or not he's going to WWE. And also, feel free to leave your comments about any of these news stories on this video in the section down below. And thank you very much for watching. I've been Jack, this has been Sam, and we'll see you very soon.
Bye.